She stayed late to sit with a lonely patient just to be kind. But when the truth came out about who that patient really was, the entire hospital was stunned. Headphones subscribe to Minutes of Moral for more emotional, true inspired stories that show how small acts of kindness can change everything. Like, comment, and share to spread the power of compassion. It was almost midnight when Nurse Alina finished her rounds at St. Grace Hospital. The fluorescent lights flickered softly in the hallway. Most of the staff had gone home. The cafeteria was closed. The vending machine buzzed in the corner. Alina sighed as she tucked away a clipboard at the nurse station. It had been a long shift. 2 code blues. 1 emergency birth. And countless tiny heartbreaks she couldn't show on her face. But one room still had its light on, room 207. It had been empty for weeks, then suddenly assigned to a John Doe brought in by an ambulance 3 nights ago. No wallet, no ID, no emergency contact. Just a badly bruised man who hadn't spoken a single word. Most assumed he was another homeless case. A wanderer. Just another shadow in the city. But there was something about him that tugged at Alina's heart. Maybe it was the way his hand twitched slightly, as if reaching out in sleep. Maybe it was the way he turned toward the sound of her voice, even in silence. Or maybe it was the simple fact that he was alone. Alina pulled up a chair beside his bed. She didn't even know why. She just couldn't leave. She gently took his hand. It was cold, dry, wrinkled. She gave it a small squeeze. "You don't have to go through the night alone," she whispered. He didn't respond, but she stayed. For over an hour, she talked softly about the things she missed, like her late father's favorite jazz records, and how she still couldn't bake without burning cookies. She hummed lullabies her mother used to sing when the world felt heavy. She even read from a dog-eared poetry book she kept in her bag, something about the sea and remembering who you are. And though he never opened his eyes, Alina felt something in the room shift, like the silence wasn't so lonely anymore. The next morning, Alina returned early. She brought warm socks, a small electric diffuser with lavender oil, and a playlist of soft piano music on a speaker. But the moment she stepped into the hallway, she stopped. Room 207 was surrounded by people in suits. Men with earpieces. Security detail. 2 nurses whispered nervously near the door. Alina approached, confused. One of the senior nurses looked at her wide-eyed and whispered, "That John Doe? He's not homeless. He's Elliot Chambers, the reclusive billionaire who disappeared last month." Alina froze mid-step. Elliot Chambers? The founder of Orion Technologies? The man who once made the cover of Fortune for building a $40 billion empire and then vanished without a trace? She remembered seeing his face on a news ticker weeks ago. Missing in bold red letters. And now, he was her patient? The man she held hands with? The man she stayed up late for? The hospital was buzzing. Reporters circled outside. Executives scrambled to manage the press. But inside room 207, Elliot Chambers was calm. Peaceful. Later that day, Alina was summoned to the administrator's office. Her heart pounded. She was sure she'd broken some protocol, stayed past shift hours, touched a VIP patient, something. But when she entered, a man in a sharp black suit stood to greet her. "Nurse Alina," he asked gently. She nodded. "I'm Marcus Lawton, Mr. Chambers' legal representative. He asked me to meet you personally." He handed her a white envelope. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside, a handwritten letter. "Dear Alina, I don't remember much from those nights. My mind was cloudy, my body weak. But I remember warmth. I remember your voice. You didn't know my name. You didn't ask for one. And still, you stayed. No one has done that for me in a very long time. In all my years of building empires, I've never met someone as rich in spirit as you." Beneath the letter, a check. $250,000. Alina's knees almost gave out. But it wasn't the money that made her cry. It was the fact that a man the world chased for power and prestige had found peace in her presence. In the weeks that followed, Elliot Chambers quietly recovered in private. The media frenzy died down. But one thing remained. Alina. With the money, she started something she had only dreamed of, the Holding Heart Center. A place for the forgotten. A place where no terminally ill patient would ever have to die alone again. It started in a small wing of the hospital. Just 4 rooms. Soft lighting. Live music some evenings. Therapy dogs on weekends. A volunteer who sat and read love stories to those who no longer remembered names. Elliot helped her fund it further. But he refused to have his name on the plaque. "This wasn't my idea," he told her quietly. "It was yours, long before I ever met you." Alina smiled. Because deep down, she knew the world didn't need more tech moguls or billionaires. It needed more people who stayed. Who sat beside the forgotten. Who chose kindness in quiet moments. Who believed no one should leave this world unnoticed. Life lesson? You never know who you're sitting with. Compassion doesn't check status, titles, or bank accounts. It doesn't ask who you are, it asks how you feel. Kindness is what makes us truly human. And sometimes, the heart you comfort today might be the one that changes your life tomorrow. Speech balloon, ever met someone who surprised you with who they really were? Share your story in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Minutes of Moral, where every story reminds us that kindness always counts.